Well, hello again. Today we are going to talk about getting to know the import window in Final Cut Pro 10. Importing footage into your video editing software is not as simple as just pull it in and start editing. There are some things you need to know if you really want to produce a quality project, quality video. There are some things in the window that are going to make things easier for you, and several different ways to import footage. So let's go ahead and let's jump over to Final Cut and we will take a look. Okay, so here we are in the Final Cut Pro window, and what I've done right here is I've already created my library. My library is music file. Sample footage is what's going to be in here. And I created a project, but I haven't titled it yet because I'm not exactly sure what I want this to be titled. Okay, we'll deal with that at another time. So what I want to do is I want to import footage. Now there's several different ways I can do that. Okay, but we really want to do that through the import window. We can access the import window several different ways. We can come up under the File menu, go to Import Media, and it's going to go ahead and open that window. I can click this little downward arrow, and it will also click that window. I can come under here, under my event, I can right click, and this is actually what I use, and I can click import, and then it'll pull it right into that event for sure. And the other thing, I can use a shortcut key. Command is the modifier I. Command I. Okay, and if you ever want to shut a window, you can just hit the escape key. So I'm going to come over here, and you know what I'm going to do is I want to show you something real quick. I'm just going to create an empty event. So I have two events in here. Now I'm going to want to import this into my sample footage. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to import media. Okay, and right here to begin with, the very first thing in this right hand pane, okay, it says add to existing event sample footage. I always want to look here to make sure I'm pulling it into the right event. If not, I can go ahead and change the event and it'll pull it into a different event right here. I want this to go into sample footage. So let's take a look at this window. This right here is all of our sources, okay? I can import off the main hard drive. I can import off of, this right here is a hard drive that I have attached. I can do the FaceTime camera. If I was to put in an SD card, it would show up right here under cameras, and we can import right off of an SD card. Okay, down here is basically it's our Finder. Okay, where we can take a look to locate different things that we want to import, and then this side over here, okay, is something we're gonna take a look at right before we hit import all. Okay, but the first thing I want to show you is a little thing. Is if you're a new Final Cut Pro user, this is how Final Cut comes out of the box. Looks just like this. These favorites, you can click on HHS Digital, which brings me to my main thing. This is just the name of my computer, by the way. You can notice that by the little house. Okay, when you do this, you're going to find your little house. You have two things on here, your house and your desktop. A neat trick here is I want you to go ahead and click on your house. So you're at the main window, so you have these things down here. Now, truth be told, a lot of times you want to pull something in from your pictures folder, or you want to pull in music or movies or downloads or documents. And although you can drag and drop, and I'll show you that in a second, it would be really nice to just be able to access these right here. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the Documents folder. Now I'm going to hold down on the Command key, and I'm also going to choose the Downloads folder, the Movies folder, the Music folder, the Picture folder. I'm going to go ahead and choose this Public folder at all. What Public is, it's a folder that other people can access on the network. Even though they can't access anything else on your computer, they can access your public folder, and there's sometimes that people might want to drop a piece of media in there for you. So that's nice to have. Now with all those highlighted, I'm going to let off of the Command key. I'm going to click and hold just on my you might get a couple little warnings. I'm going to click and hold. So you see right here, I can move all of these. I'm going to come over here. I'm still holding, and I'm going to bring it over here until that favorites lights up, and I'm going to let go. It's going to ask me some questions, and then boom. Check this out. I now have access to all of these different folders really easy. So if I have downloaded some things, which I don't have anything in my downloads folder right now, I use this a lot. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to import something. I'm going to go into my music projects folder and I'm just going to take a look. And I've got a couple of movies that I want to bring in. Okay, so I'm just going to start with grabbing this. Now these movies are actually completed already. Just so you're not distracted, this is yes, that's me in every one of those. There's something that's called multi-track editing, and I played all of the instruments and recorded this at the same time. But so this is one of the videos I want to bring in. So I've highlighted the video. I'm going to come over here. We have to understand this pane. This is really, really important. So top one. Okay. Right here, add to existing event. Remember, I had a choice. This is the event I want to bring it in. Now, it's very possible that you're plugged in things and that you're looking at footage and you're getting ready to go. You've plugged in a hard drive. You're ready to go and you're editing. And you have forgotten to create the event. You don't have to get back out of this window. What you want to do is you can right here, okay, create new event in, this is the only library I have open, but if I had more libraries open, I could put it there. I can name my event. Okay, so that's really handy. So I'm going to click add to existing event. Now, the next thing down here is how we want the files to be handled. Right. Copy to library or leave files in place. Okay. So this is really, really important to understand how this works, okay? So what you have is you have files, okay? You have some files. They're either on an SD card. Okay, if you're copying off an SD card, you only have the choice to copy to library. It will not give you the leave files in place option because it knows it's an SD card. Same thing if you plugged a camera directly in. It knows it's a camera. So that'll be easy, but I'm pulling files in off of a hard drive, okay? So here I have my files, okay? File 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And then here I have Final Cut Pro. All right, if these files are on a hard drive, okay, and you know that you're always going to use this hard drive. This hard drive is always going to be attached, okay? You can choose to leave files in place, okay? What this is going to do is when I import my files into Final Cut, okay, it's going to create what I'm just going to call it's a link, okay? This is going to be a link to this file. It's not going to import that whole file into Final Cut. It's going to look like it's imported. It's going to work like it's imported. You're not going to have any problems working with the file. It's just going to reference it over here. Now, why would you want to do that? You want to do that to save space on a hard drive, okay? Especially if you're working on a big project. You just want to leave your files in place and you use Final Cut to do the editing, okay? So leave files in place will leave the files on the hard drive, okay? And it will create this file that's kind of a link. I call it a poser file, okay? Okay? It's not the real file, okay? But it's making you think it is, okay? I also refer to them as a Kanye file. Just a thought. Okay, so that right there is leave files in place. Now, I choose, okay, let's get rid of this. Copy to library. Oh gosh, okay. That is a terrible, terrible. Okay, copy to library. Well, copy to library is actually going to make a copy of that file, the original file, okay? And it's going to import it into Final Cut Pro, okay? So it actually brings these in. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go copy, okay, is going to actually bring these in. I'm going to do this, leave, and just so you know, you can have some copied to your library and some left in place at the same time. Leave is going to create a link to these files. And you can leave files in place. Leave files in place is great if you're never going to disconnect that hard drive, or if they're on a file on a desktop file that you're never going to delete. Did you hear what I said? Until the project's over, you're not going to delete this footage. If you think you're going to delete it, or you're working on a thumb drive, or you're working on something that you might not have with you, the safe thing is always copy it to Final Cut. But it is going to use up more space on your hard drive. In a later video, I'll talk about clearing space and doing all of that. So you really got to just understand this concept about these two things right here. Okay, so just for simplicity right here, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to leave the files in place because I'm going to keep this hard drive selected, and then I can show you what happens later. Now, keywords, okay? These are things that are associated with the video that help organization. It's really great. I always leave these chosen. If the file is in a folder, the name of that folder will become a keyword. We'll talk about keywords in another video. Okay, and also you can put a tag on a clip. Okay, don't worry about how to do that, but if you have tags on your clips, it's going to pull them in as keywords. I always use those checks. Okay, leave them checked. All right, analyze video. This section right here is really important for you to understand. Very important for you to understand. All right. All of this right here, okay, you have 2 people in a video, it's called a 2-shot. You got 3 people in a video, it's called a 3-shot. If you wanted to find people and then create a keyword that says you want to pull up all the shots with 2 people, you can go ahead and do that. But I want you to know that if you have a giant post right here in your video and 1 person here and 1 person here, it's really probable that the Final Cut's going to recognize that poll as a person. I never use the find people. Okay. Balance color. That might sound like a really, really good thing that you want to do, but you don't want to do that. Because if it I prefer to color balance later. Okay, so I would leave that unchecked for right now. I would leave all these unchecked. All right. Transcode. If you don't understand anything, you have to understand this right here. Okay? So, transcode, create optimized media, create proxy media. I am going to deal with this whole subject on what those are in another video. All right, it's going to be called iframe versus GOP structure or something like that. Okay, if you're looking for that, understanding what it is. But here's what you need to know right now. Optimized media is high quality media. For most purposes, you don't want to use this. Here's why. It's going to turn it into what's called full iframe video, which that'll be explained later, but it's super high quality, which is going to take your original file, which even if you're using a 1080 camera is probably pretty good quality, and it's going to be about 10 times the size. So the good part is that, you know, it's really high quality, but it's going to use up a lot of space on your hard drive. Okay, so pretty much right now in the process, you're just getting started, I would not use optimized media. What proxy media is it actually takes your media and creates really small media. The reason you would use that is that if you're doing a real long project, it can take time for Final Cut to render, for it to catch up. And if you use really small files, it edits really nicely. And you can use proxy media to edit, and then right before you export, you can say, nope, I want to use my high quality media, and change that, and it'll just put it all in automatically. For the most part, you're not going to need either one of these. Okay, so keep these unchecked. Look at this every time you pull in video. Okay, now analyze audio, fix audio problems. Do not ever check this. Here's why. You might think that's nice. Let's fix audio problems coming in. But you see, you have a piece of software making a decision on audio problems. Okay, so if you have background noise, it's going to try to get rid of it. That might sound great, except for it modifies the file. You can go in and fix your own audio problems, and I'll be showing you how to do that. So I would not check that at all. I would leave that fix audio problems unchecked. Separate mono and group stereo, I would just leave that unchecked as well. Remove silent channels. Okay, I always check this. There are cameras that have a mixer right on them, and they may be recording 8 channels of audio. And if you just have the one mic on a camera and you're just recording that one channel, in Final Cut, you're going to have one channel of audio, one channel of good audio, and 7 channels of empty audio. Okay, so Final Cut can recognize what's on a channel and not. So I always go ahead and remove silent channels. Assign audio roll automatically. Leave that at that. We'll talk about what that is at a later date. The important thing really in this window is, okay, you don't want to, right here, you can do this later, okay? Right here, it's going to modify your file. Don't do it, okay? And leave these boxes unchecked, okay? So that's really important. So now, I told you never to transcode media, right? I was talking about video files. Let me show you something. There are different types. Oh, perfect. Okay, I'm going to bring this in. This is a picture. This is a picture that I used at the beginning of one of my videos, okay? This is a JPEG. JPEG is a file format for still images. Now, I'm going to just go to the one right below it. Looks exactly the same. But if you look at, well, no, wait. No, I guess it doesn't look exactly the same. But I titled it the same. But what I want you to look at is I want you to look at this right here. This is a TIFF, okay? TIFF file is a high-quality file. It's going to be a larger file than a JPEG, and it's going to be better quality. It's not video. It's a still image. So when you're importing, I always import all my video, and then I import still images separately. Why? Because Final Cut Pro does not play nice with JPEG images. It'll look really great, but then when it goes to play, they'll get a little blurry. So you either want to import TIFF images, or you go ahead and click on the JPEG image, then you're going to click Create Optimized Media, okay? And then you're going to click Import Selected. And when I do this, it's going to convert this file right here from a JPEG to a TIFF on import. Okay? So you want to optimize media on still images. Now, here is what I call a gotcha, right? Real quick, let me go back to my import window. Now I'm going to import video. Okay? I want you to see something. The last thing I did was import still images, and this defaults to checked. I want to uncheck that. So you just want to be careful, okay? If it pulls in that, it's going to create these really, really huge files, okay? So that is this part of the window right here. Now, a lot of you guys like to just drag and drop, all right? So this is using the import window. It's got a lot of great tools. You can always double check to make sure things are going into the right spot. Okay, so that's the import window. Now I'm going to get out of this and I'm going to open up, I think I already have it. Nope. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to create a new Finder window. And I'm just going to come right here and I'm just going to use some, oh, okay, I guess I have an MOV file right here. So I'm going to drag and drop. Okay, I can just drag files into Final Cut. Okay, what you want to know is you've got no control over, it's not going to create optimized media, so you really don't ever want to do this. You can turn JPEGs into TIFFs later in Final Cut, but Final Cut never plays nice with TIFFs, so why would you want to do that? Okay, so right here, I'm just going to take this class. I've got a little class slide here. I'm going to click, I'm going to hold, and I'm going to drag it over here. Now watch. I can't bring it into my event. I can't bring it in here, but I can bring it in to an event. Okay. Now when I bring it into the event, what you're going to see okay, you can just bring it in and you can drop it right there. Now, for some reason, there was something that did not work right there. Ah, do you see what you see when I drag it over there? Let me zoom in on this. You need to see this. This is really, really important. Okay, get this a little closer. Okay, I'm going to just take this. Remember when I set my thing up to leave files in place? Okay, it doesn't default to do this. When I go ahead and go to bring this over here, okay, you see that little curved arrow? That means leave files in place, okay? If I come and I hit the Option key, okay, it's going to change to a plus sign, and now that's going to import it directly into Final Cut Pro. Okay, it is going to copy to library. Okay, so the way I got it to do that, okay, if I want it to copy to library, I'm going to drag this over. Okay, if it doesn't default, I'm going to hit the Option key. Okay, little green plus, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to pull something else over there. Okay. You know what? Let me just shut that off. Let me turn that over to copy to library real quick, just so you can see how it works as a default. All right, let's zoom this in again. Let's take a look. Okay, so I'm going to try to bring this over. Okay, it wants to do it. If I hit the Control key, okay, it will leave files in place. Oh, I forgot to change that. It'll leave files in place, okay? So if it says leave files in place, you hit the Option key to get the green thing. If it says copy to library and you want to leave files in place, okay, you're going to hit the Control key to do that, okay? So it's just a few different ways to import media. Really important that you understand that, okay? A few things that were related to this are going to be transcoding media. We're going to talk about that in in another video. And we also need to talk about keywords and keyword collections and this other word that you see right here called smart collections. And that's what happens when I hit the wrong camera button. All right. So that's it for today. Hope that's helpful, and we'll see you again next time.